All right, 5 o'clock on a Friday. Let's do this. Let's hit the books. Part of the Hammer Betting Network, alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Joey Knish, alongside producer extraordinaire Zach Phillips. I am merely Brad Powers. Before we talk bowl games that finally get going here on Saturday with a nice slate, and before we get to maybe even some NFL talk and some transfer portal coaching carousel talk, before I get to any of that, and obviously all your comments and questions, let me remind everybody that Hit the Books is brought to you by BetStamp. The easiest way to improve as a sports bettor is to use multiple sports books and always get the best odds. We recommend using an odds comparison tool like BetStamp. BetStamp compares odds across every sports book for games, futures, and player props. You can save time and money by checking BetStamp before you bet. Download the app today. If you are looking to sign up for a new sportsbook account, please check out the offers available at betstamp.app/hitthebooks. Or you can hit the link in the description. If you sign up through this page, it does help support the show. Knish, what's happening, man? Haven't talked to you all week. You have a good week so far?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? A little bit of kind of lull before the storm here. So, not much. All the game's kind of been on the board. And so now ready to actually see some football. So, and you know what? I mentioned this on Championship Sunday, and the same thing with the bowl. I like bowl season from the aspect of you can kind of sit back and focus on one game. There's not a million games going on. You're not flipping all over the place. I'm not, stressing looking at the screen. You can kind of just, enjoy the football a little more. That's the same thing where, Championship Saturday where you can get a little bit more viewing experience than the normal Saturdays during the season where, your stress is at a peak maximum of, 8,000 things going on. So it's probably my favorite time to watch games. And also, you know what? You got to be a little bit of a sicko. And this, I'm sure you agree. And the people that watch this show, you kind of get to see some guys, even with the portaling, that maybe you didn't see all year. There's some guy that you've been waiting to see, or a backup quarterback, or somebody, some guys that, you can kind of see the next chapter. So a little bit, it's, I still like bowl season, even though the quality and the trend is probably heading in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think it's good. You mentioned isolated games on TV. A lot of times you get more books carrying these games live and offering live. You don't get very many opportunities to live bet New Mexico State football games, at least at some sports books. So I think it's good live betting exercise. You can get off positions because there's a lot of uncertainty, to say the least. You hit on that with a lot of new players. It's kind of turning into NFL preseason, kind of turning into spring games, so to speak. I love them. So I like it's kind of a jumping off point to next year with a lot of these teams. And you get to at least see some of these guys in a game with starting experience that you wouldn't have been able to get that opportunity in years past. So I'm kind of excited about it. We'll see how it does for the bankroll, but we'll see. I'm not sure how bad the quality is going to be, though. I have this year. It seems it gets worse every year as far as the amount of players hitting it. So I'm wondering when it starts getting really noticeable as far as the quality. Let's just jump right in the chat here. Onion Man, early here. Either of you guys involved in the Ohio movement today? I know your buddy was. He took Ohio +3. I didn't jump in on it, though. Not that I disagree. I'm kind of neutral on the game.
You know what? Obviously, you had one group, I know, right angle playing Georgia Southern early, and some of their moves have been very significant. And so, if you're a person that is a little comfortable playing back, or maybe you got in early and want to play some middle, obviously the tailgate tent came in on Ohio today. I think the case for Ohio would be that even without Rourke, he really wasn't like the Ohio offense this year. It wasn't your your older brother's Ohio team where it was like pass. You know what, the team that we thought coming into the year was they were still good. It was just they were good for all the different reasons than you thought it'd be. Kind of how we talked Miami, Ohio, where Avion Smith probably really isn't worth that much. And I know Curtis Rourke is nice grab for Indiana. Did Indiana come in? Maybe we'll save that for let me finish here. But like, did the Hoosiers start? Is Mark Cuban giving like $30 million to the program because all of a sudden they're making a bunch of power moves? Anyway, I don't have again. I don't have a strong opinion on this. I think Georgia Southern early, obviously, you know, if you got in there right side. At current, I'm pretty neutral.
If you got to bet it now, for me, I go under. I wasn't impressed with Georgia Southern's offense down the stretch. They only averaged 25 points per game in their last four, far cry from what they were at the start of the season. And I mean, Ohio's just a dead nut under team. I mean, all year that's been the case. And I don't know. I mean, backup running backs, backup quarterback, third stringer. Keep in mind Harris is out. He was got a bunch of snaps last year at this time. I don't know. Another live game. I guess I'll be able to tell within the first couple possessions. Under for me there. Teeks in the chat. I'm the captain of an intramural flag football team at Notre Dame. Who should I target a quarterback for a spring season? Buckner or Pine? Buckner can at least move. Yeah. Is it tackle? Or is
I
it
love
flag?
that both of them are back and neither are playing football. Like what? Just like these were your two guys. Also,
and you won 9 games. You won 9 games with those two guys.
Credit to everybody except Tommy Reese that tried to start him over Jalen Milroe this year. I don't know. But yeah, I will say Notre Dame seems to have gotten whoever's running the collectives in behind the scenes is, in the last couple of cycles has definitely gotten it together in terms of getting their quarterback business out of the way and finding and identifying guys even before the maybe allegedly before the portal opens.
Yeah, they're acting pretty good.
It's good
in
business.
That part. They're taking care of business there, and I mean, it's not like they're going to go after 15 or 20 transfers, but they got 6 already. And I would argue that maybe all 6 will be starters, and they're already locked in. They got the defensive end from Duke that I like quite a bit. A couple wide receivers to replace the guys that transferred out. They got a really good kicker from South Carolina. They're acting like a team of Notre Dame's caliber and prestige should. So I'm actually happy. That's why I'm not afraid to wear the hat today. I'm pretty proud of them. We'll see if I'm proud after the Sun Bowl, though. Oof, that game. Dude, speaking of intramurals, in Notre Dame, that's kind of an intramural scrimmage. I think we're up to 22 starters combined out for that game. My goodness. Desert Rat in the chat, Florida A&M line looks light, strictly based on team records. Any thoughts on this one? I did bet Florida A&M. I like Florida A&M in this one. Better defense. I know Howard played a little bit tougher schedule, but Florida A&M for me. I've been betting them most of the year. My power ratings have been a little higher. At 6.5 at FanDuel. I know you got to pay the extra juice, but that's worth a bet.
I agree. I joined you there. Played some Florida A&M myself, but under 7 though. Most of those got bought up. I agree. 6.5, 120 still okay.
Yep. SGN tickets. Is Jaden going to play? What happens to the line going forward? I guess he's Jaden Daniels. No, I don't think he's going to play, but let's wait until it officially hits the Dom Best screen. You know how people act. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm going to bet LSU. And I'm going to bet LSU quite a bit because I think Nussmeier is perfectly fine. Keep in mind, LSU fan will never admit to this, but I perused the message boards in the summer and spring because I got nothing better to do with my sorry life. And they wanted Nussmeier over Daniels in the summer. This is a guy that, lit up Georgia in the SEC championship game last year, lit up Purdue in the bowl game. I think he'll be fine. Neighbors looks like he's going to play. I think they hammer Wisconsin. How does Wisconsin keep up? They are completely compromised at wide receiver and running back. I like LSU, but let's wait. The line hasn't bottomed out yet as far as I'm concerned.
You don't got to sell me on fading Wisconsin. I'm on the show every week saying this team that no good. And they kept getting, the market kept reacting to them as if they would be a better. And I just, it never came together this year for them. And I agree with you. And now listen, there was Wisconsin 10, 10.5, 11s. Those kind of got bought up as people started. It hasn't officially come out, but as the man, the myth BP says over here, it's good. Just like we said with Drake May, it was already baked in. The Drake May news comes out. West Virginia goes to 6 anyway. Same thing will happen with Jaden Daniels. You're probably able to catch an LSU -7 or something like that once the news officially hits. Maybe even better than that. But I agree. I think and it's an LSU team where I'll never forget the Ed Orgeron season, the last year where half of the two deep was either injured or quit or transferring. They're still winning games down the stretch because there's like 50 guys on the roster in Louisiana football that like the 3-star from, Louisiana down there is like the 4.5-star anywhere else in the country. So it's a roster that, again, defensively, but is Wisconsin going to take advantage of that? So no, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah, it'll be a buy at some point there.
Yeah, that's the best advice I can give you for those watching and listening. As soon as that hits, bet LSU. I'll tell you, if we're doing one of the shows and I think it's at its bottom as far as price-wise, I'm comfortable with LSU as the best bet. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, we got a few weeks until the game kicks off, but if I feel it's at the right price and bottom now, that's how much I like LSU.
I do like now Charlie, our boy, he's always in the chat. I kind of like TVD for them. I know he didn't have the greatest year at Miami last year, but let me tell you something. He's an upgrade over Mordecai and the guys they had on the roster. I'll leave it at that. I'm not saying he's going to be, Big Ten. Also, Wisconsin has to actually play real teams next year in the Big Ten, which is going to be
and they play Alabama in non-conference.
Yeah, so schedule might not set up nicely, but I think in terms of talent, he's an upgrade for sure.
He's got to be healthy. I do think he's an upgrade over Mordecai, but Mordecai wasn't healthy this year, so be interesting to see what they do. Recruiting and portal. They do lose a lot of their wide receivers. Tucker Holmes in the chat. Thoughts on Miami, Ohio money line? I don't know. With the third string quarterback, I don't know. I mean, I certainly lean Miami, Ohio. It's going to be bad weather. App State's one of their wide receivers out. Their leading rushers out. Wind and rain. I love Miami, Ohio's defense. Is probably my favorite unit in the game. I lean Miami, Ohio, especially with that total down to 41.5 now.
Yeah, I don't. Again, it's bowl season, so I'm not going to talk you off a money line if you want to sprinkle it. I think they, they're a team that all year did the intangible stuff really well, the special teams, the defense, the third downs and all of this stuff, and just kind of made it that. And the quarterback position really didn't. Evian Smith just kind of, held the ship together. The problem being is, I think the Sun Belt. And you're going to see that in bowl season was really damn good this year. And it's an App State team that kind of caught fire at the end. And I think just has better players, across the board than Miami, Ohio. And it's a game where if they get down 10 or 14, it's like, is there any way back? So I don't know. I just don't love the, I can see why the sevens got bought up. At the same time, I'm probably not running to play them anymore. So just kind of one that I think's gotten shaped pretty good.
RW fan 23 in the chat. Please discuss Arkansas State, Northern Illinois, and Virginia Tech Tulane. I had you bet Arkansas State right away. I sent that order in, but I don't know if I'd play it now. Virginia Tech I love. I don't think the Tulane opt-outs are all totally priced in yet. I'm not sure Michael Pratt's going to play or not. That's not official. I have significant doubts still. I like Virginia Tech quite a bit out of those two games.
Yeah, that would be. I agree. I think you've got the Willie Fritz, exit. You've got probably Pratt not playing, and you've got a Tulane team that I'll give you credit that down the stretch you were kind of waving the panic alarms for, 4, 5, 6 weeks there, and it came to roost against SMU, who with a backup QB didn't really even play that well, beat their ass in the title game. And then, on the opposite of that, Virginia Tech was rolling down. And now I know we talk about sometimes you want to, fade the team that was hot down the stretch, back the team. This is one of those scenarios there where just a lot of things have happened to Tulane where you're going to have, you got a ton of opt-outs, you got a new coaching staff, and you got a team that probably wasn't really that good this year. That kind of, the record wasn't it. So, yeah, I'm with you there. Of the two, Tech is the one I'd still play. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know what to expect in this Arkansas State Northern Illinois game. I kind of lean over where it's at.
There you go.
Kind of one of those that I think could be just a little bit of a wacky shootout. All the Montgomery, Alabama, crazy Camilla Bowl. Both teams kind of going up and down. So that'd be my only lean on that one.
Rudolph, the wide receiver for Northern Illinois, looks like he hit the portal and then is going to come back to the team. So keep that in mind. I mean,
that is the bull seat. That is the, like,
oh my God,
where the guy jumps in Yeah, and then they come back. That's like the drive you up a wall bowl season portal and come back now for in terms of betting is pretty wild.
I go back though, Sunbelt versus MAC. Generally speaking, give me the Sunbelt. Big difference between those two conferences.
Agreed,
to say the least. So
strong.
I will see how that. I will say this: once a pattern starts, if there is one, that's another advice I can give you. If there's on Saturday, if there's a conference, particularly Sunbelt or somebody Saturday, and then the Monday game that starts overperforming or underperforming expectations, 2, 3, 4 game sample size, you're going to start to see money come in or against those teams in those conferences. Drunk Driver H3, speaking of the Sunbelt, is there value now in Georgia Southern now that we're juiced at juice 2.5s and 3s? I'm kind of, like I mentioned earlier, I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I kind of, you know what? It kind of
was that a dog barking?
Yeah, yeah, you bet. Well, career, you better never mind then. You take those Georgia Southern tickets and throw them out the window. Yeah, we talked about it. I just think it's kind of you had two groups bet at both sides, and now it's kind of right where there's nothing that makes me want to jump out and play it.
Dylan in the chat. Ooh, NFL. Here we go. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts on this one because I actually agree with this. Lions hopping back on the horse this weekend, Knish?
I hope so. And I saw you played it. And
what's your thoughts on that? Yeah, the old tout release gave out the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, it's the healthiest. It looks like all 53 roster guys are practicing this week. It looks like it's going to be the healthiest they've been in a long time versus a Broncos team that had, caught like this 4-week stretch of incredible positive turnover variance that made it seem like, oh, the Broncos are back. And it was like, they're not really back. They just kind of got 15 turnovers in 4 weeks, plus 15 or whatever. I agree with it. I grabbed some 4 with you. It hasn't been a Lions team that I've been betting, obviously rooting for, but haven't been betting on in a little while here, especially as the defense. I guess that's the one area where I don't have a great is the defense really has bottomed out here in 5 weeks. So, but I thought 4 was probably as cheap as it gets, and the offense should be able to roll here.
I got a special announcement. If you want to sweat along with the Lions with Knish,
oh yeah, baby,
you can do so because tomorrow during the Lions and Broncos game, you can join Mr. Knish, and Zach is going to be on the Hammer HQ YouTube account for the first half. They're going to have a watch party, watch along, and you can compete in the locker contest for a chance to win from a pool of $500 in cash prizes. What you're going to do is head over to www.locker.bet or click the link in the chat to sign up. Again, that's locker.bet, and make sure you're checking that out with the watch along between the Lions and the Broncos. I'll be watching that along with some bowl games there. I'm involved with the Lions. If this is a team that's going to finally end the playoff, if they're capable of winning a playoff game, this game's going to show me. Otherwise, I just think they're going to be a pretender if they lose. So I'm hoping they cover the.
It's trending in the pretender direction. If I'm being honest here, not the super fan. There was a month ago, you could have told me this team could have made the NFC title game. I need to see. Yeah, we got to see something on defense fast.
Let's hope we see it on Saturday night.
Yes.
Charles in the chat. What are you guys' thoughts for the sinking boat versus Brad's alma mater? I bet BG in the over in the game. I don't know. I mean, Minnesota's been really good in bowl games under PJ Fleck. I think he's unbeaten, 5-0. But they're down to a third-string quarterback. I mean, their DC's gone. I'll tell you that is a sinking ship as far as a program moving next year. Schedule gets tougher. I don't know. BG really impressed me this year.
So I'll get. You know what? I know we're going over the same slate of games, so we don't have a ton of Damian Martinez is going to be allowed to play in the bowl game for Oregon State. Just saw that.
Hey, Oregon State, best bet. Oregon State live.
Yeah, you know, baby. Do we already have that in the queue or no?
No, we don't. You want to use it? Let's use it.
Yeah.
Those watching Oregon State plus 6.5. Best bet.
Yeah,
Notre Dame's in trouble. I have
nice
bad
trip.
Oregon State money line in that game.
Apparently, the discipline at in Beaver State, not you don't gotta you got a stern talking to for that DUI, and he came back. So yeah, that's nice for us Oregon State backers. But on the Minnesota thing, I bet low. So the one book, Caesar, I think a couple of them actually have lowest scoring bowl team. I think Minnesota was like 30-1. Took a little sprinkle there. QB's gone. Offense was absolutely terrible. BG defense kind of frisky this year anyway. Ugly game. That and our favorite Miami, Florida. The two lowest scoring sprinkles I took there on Caesars, like 25.
Where was that available at?
Caesars has
right.
lowest scoring, highest scoring. So, and there's a couple. I mean, I'm not talking huge dollars here. I was just throwing $100 around on some of these. So those were a couple. I mean, Miami with like backups all over the place in Yankee Stadium in 20-degree weather just speaks to me in terms of low scoring. And we already bet Rutgers as a best bet there. But yeah, I think Minnesota was, I think, a horrible team this year, and they've only gotten worse in terms of the stuff they've lost. So I like the BG as well.
Grant in the chat, biggest bowl underdog. Y'all seeing winning outright, trying to get an edge here in bowl pools. Well, we just gave you one. I think Oregon State's live against Notre Dame. Notre Dame's without like 11, 12 starters. Who knows in that one? The skeleton crew coaching staff worries me a little bit for Oregon State, but they're trying to win the game with Martinez going to play now. That's funny. Is there any other? I'm trying to think if there's any others.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at big dogs that I could see having a.
You're going to tell me Liberty. No. Northwestern.
Maybe there was a hope there, but then when every Oregon player decided they were going to bury him, I think that kind of went out the window.
What's your thoughts on Northwestern?
That's not a bad one in terms of spreads. I was looking for ones that are touchdown or above.
Yeah, and
it's kind of hard to.
Wait, I haven't bet the USC Louisville game. Have you?
No, I have not. Thoughts there?
Man, my numbers are. I didn't like Caleb this year, so my numbers are actually, even with the factoring him out, my numbers say USC. I just haven't gotten there yet. I haven't seen that one. Hasn't moved at all. Side or total. Nothing's moved.
No.
Oh.
It was, and I know USC's made a lot of positive like coaching hires, and I think there's some direction. I kind of like USC over a touchdown, even with I'm not sure Louisville, from a margin standpoint, and that can really do and I know it's like they're not the type of team that I think was able to just like pound on USC's defense and that. So I think you've got a talent advantage here too, even without Caleb Williams and that. So yeah, I'm leaning to taking the points.
Yeah, that's a game no one's asked me about, and I was just looking at teams that are capable of winning outright. I don't know. I wouldn't be stunned if SC do it.
I tend to agree with you. You want
best bet it? Nobody's touched it. We were like virgins here to this line. It feels like nobody's done anything with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. USC plus 7.5.
Yeah, no, I'm with that. I like the that was one that I was kind of the only thing but it's one of those that people already know. When we talk a few guys that might get ruled in, might get ruled out. People have known Caleb Williams
for Louisville.
What'd you say?
Sherwar Jordan.
Yes, and that as well. And Caleb Williams hasn't been. It's known he wasn't playing in this game for like 2 months now. So
yeah. I mean, the line would be close to pick as far as I'm concerned. I know Caleb Williams is great, but the way he played down the stretch, I don't think he's worth more than a touchdown to the point spread right now. I just don't.
I agree.
And I got to think Louisville's disappointed after back-to-back losses. I mean, they were right there at the cusp of something much bigger than the Holiday Bowl. RW fan 23 in the chat. Oh no, I want to tease Alabama to 7.5. I'm okay with the variance. There's too much variance in bowl games. Is there anything NFL you pair it with? I mean, I love Alabama, but I mean, college bowl teasers. I mean, I just literally just liked somebody tweeted out how terrible a bet college bowl teasers are. So
that I agree. I mean, if you want to do it, yeah, but do it with an NFL game there, because you don't want to do it with
yeah, I
any.
guess that would be the one. It's a long teaser. You don't have to question motivation. I already love Alabama to win the game. I mean, I guess if there's one side to bet, that would be. I mean, look at this. Literally just like this. 42 bowl games. This is by Kevin O'Neill. Does a good job. Sharp guy. 6-point teaser impact only affected 28.5% last year. The totals less than that, 24%. Ooh, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you gotta stay with. I don't mind Bama in the tease at all. I think that's a nice. But if you got
We got a good leg in the NFL this week. I haven't bet a teaser in the NFL this week.
I mean, listen, I don't want to. If you watch Joey K content, you probably heard him say this about 800 times. But since the teaser stuff, I've kind of been out on teasers, and it's just very hard to find plus EV pricing anymore.
Yeah,
at most places. So I kind of know.
Wiped out in Vegas. It's done.
Yeah, the legals don't have them. Vegas doesn't have them. You got to have like a couple random, PPHs that still allow, some pre, and that's really it. So I just don't bet them at scale anymore because you can't.
Yeah, I don't think there's a great leg this week. I like the Bills over the Cowboys, so I wouldn't play the Wong teaser on the Cowboys. I don't like. Yeah, I don't see one. Maybe the Steelers tomorrow. I don't know.
But you've got, you got what, 3 weeks till the Michigan game. So if you don't, you don't have to force it this week.
Yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, and I don't think that line's moving yet. It will eventually, though, as we get closer. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot of great teaser legs this week. Charles in the chat, would you guys try to bet alt spreads for bowl season due to the variance? Any alts you like? Oh wow. I agree with the premise. I think that's not a bad way to go. Have I looked and bet one yet? No, I haven't. I was just trying to get out in front of early line moves as it was. I'm trying to think if there's a game.
I agree with the premise as well. I just usually don't find myself, spraying a ton of alts, just in general it's just as a betting habit. So, not disagreeing with the premise there. It's usually not one that I get too deep into.
More I dive into the game, I hate to do it to you, bud, but I would be interested in some Alabama alts as we get closer to that game.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Have you? I mean, I was looking at the Michigan offense the last 4 weeks.
They can't pass protect. They can't.
And it just so happens to be the 4 best teams they played. And keep in mind, they didn't play really anybody in the first 8 games of the season. Last 4 weeks,
no, I hear you. Like the tackle position, like can't pass pro. So are you going to be able to run it all over Alabama?
Dallas Turner and Braswell on the outside. Are they going to wide receivers capable of getting separation against Alabama's corners? I'm telling you, if Milroe plays a clean game, I don't see the pathway for Michigan. I was looking at Saban's. I took out the national championship games because there's only a week in between. But if you look at the month when he has that 30 days to prep for either a semifinal or a bowl game, he's won 8 in a row by 21 points per game, covering by 10 points per game. Harbaugh in bowl games lost 6 straight, failing to cover by 16 points per game. Saban's got that army of analysts. I don't know, man.
And they just hired,
I like Alabama.
They just went Connor Stallions on us and hired our old linebacker coach immediately, the guy that we fired for Partridge. So, yeah, I'm not going to have any dollars on Michigan. I'll put it that way. So
your boy Portnoy's going to bet $1 million on Michigan. He likes Michigan.
Thankfully for him, he's got the money to lose.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And I'm not saying that Alabama's that great though either. I'm not saying like they're a great Alabama team. I just not overly impressed with Michigan in the last 3-4 games. Maybe that can change with the month off. Alex in the chat, you on the steam to the over in the South Dakota State Albany game? I didn't, but I heard a few sharp people were on the over there. Were you a part of that?
Yeah, bet some earlier today. It just got whacked again pretty good as we've been on here. So yeah, that was one that, but the number was more like 45, 46, not the 48, 49 that's trading now. I know there's been some money on Albany too. I saw one of their guys said there's a flu bug going around. They got that's always hard to quantify who's got it, how bad they are. But I thought the original Albany line was rich when it was over 21. Now,
Yeah. I took some of that. That's what I bet on the game.
Yeah, I think that was the side there. It's a lot to add. I mean, Albany's been really good all year. These are big numbers to cover. But again, South Dakota State's just kind of in a league of their own at the moment. So,
done anything with the other FCS semifinal?
I have not as of yet. It's kind of one that I tell you, it's a game that like I'd bet 3 either side of it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for 3 to bet North Dakota State. My number's like North Dakota State. I don't like the Matt Entz situation, him leaving. That concerns me a little bit, but I think Montana's a little fraudulent. And North Dakota State's obviously playing their best ball this season. So I'm waiting for 3. We'll see if it shows in the market. A lot of money on Montana so far. RW fan in the chat, what's the best way to gain leverage in a small pool, 20 people in a bowl confidence pool? I mean, when there's a small pool, I just let Vegas help you out, man. Go off the point spreads. And then if you got a couple opinions on a few games, put them in. But small pools, I say, that's how I would. Wouldn't you?
I totally for small pool. Exactly. You don't got to get cute with the pool strategy or the the contrarian stuff. When it's a small pool, just especially if it's like office pool or your buddies, chances are most of those people don't know shit about shit. So just use the stale lines to your advantage there, and just bet that. That's probably give you the biggest edge when it's a bunch of normies, a pool full of normal people. Then go with that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the bigger the pool, you want to take more chances there to distinguish yourself. It depends, if you're in with a bunch of sharp guys, then you're going to have to take some positions there. But again, if you're in like you mentioned, just regular Joe competing against regular Joes, whether it's straight up confidence or stale lines, just use the current market to your advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, you usually
chances are those people aren't doing it. So if you're doing it, you're giving yourself an edge right there.
Yeah. Charles in the chat, anything for the Bet Online transfer specials? I bet ETN to Georgia at 2-1. I think it's like minus 500 now. They were only $25 limits. Maybe other people are getting more limits on those. That's all I was getting. That's all I bet there. I'm trying to think. I did end up betting Tyler Van Dyke to Wisconsin. I don't have any inside info on the Cam Ward situation or DJU. I think it kind of depends on which one picks Florida State. There, Florida State wants Cam Ward first. They can't get him. It'll be Uyunglele there. Trying to think. Will Howard, maybe SC or Miami would be the 2 there. I don't know. Did you bet any of those? They're just very low limits.
Yeah, no. As far as the only thing I would say is the teams at the top of the board for DeQuan Finn are not. I just don't think he's going to go to any of these teams.
I think he might go back to freaking Toledo.
I agree. So none of those like Power 5 top tier programs are signing up for DeQuan Finn. I see Dante Moore to Oregon would.
Yeah, I bet that one. That's the other one I bet. I bet that one.
Yeah, and I know that was where he was originally going, and he's okay sitting for a year.
Is he though? We'll see.
I don't. Yeah. That's the thing. He says that, and it's like, and then he's like, "Oh, money's not a fact." I don't know. And Oregon's already, I'm sure, paying Dylan Gabriel a lot. Are they going to be paying 2 QBs of that? I don't know. He's a guy.
They probably have the money to do it though.
We've mentioned this a few times. Weird recruitment, weird decision making, weird circle. He says a lot of stuff that doesn't end up coming to fruition. So I don't know. At current, there might be a few DJU shots on there that if some of these teams strike out. But I agree with you. I think Florida State and Miami are kind of battling over Cam Ward. And then if Florida State doesn't get him, he probably goes there.
I'm hearing Miami is willing to pay more, but Cam Ward's concerned about development at Miami.
Yeah, he should be. If he's watched Miami the last 3 years, that should be a big concern.
This is in the weeds for a gambling show, but Miami's spending money. They're flipping kids. I think they're going to flip a running back from the Buckeyes. They just flipped another kid from Florida State. They're spending money. He is acquiring talent. He's not a good coach, though.
Word around Michigan is like got a couple of portal guys lined up, but any of the
they got some good portal guys. They got the linebacker from Maryland. That kid's a stud.
Yeah,
a couple other guys. So I mean, Michigan's doing it right with these portal.
They wanted a receiver. Especially they tried to get in on Dean Burks. They tried to get in on the transfer from Indiana, and like basically the asking price for any of the real deal skilled position was more than they wanted to pay. So it's flying around out there. If you good time to be in the portal if you're worth a damn.
JJ coming back for the Wolverines?
I'm leaning towards. No, I was probably more coin flip earlier with the latest draft stuff that's kind of coming out, and you're hearing a lot of I think he's a guy who'll go in the first round. It's tough to. So I wouldn't completely rule it out because I know he's one of the guys that's getting he's doing all right there NIL wise, but it just seems like if you're going to be a first round QB, you almost have to go.
Agree, unless they're paying astronomical to come back. Mississippi kid, New Mexico State, Fresno State. It's a little rich on New Mexico State. I bet New Mexico State. I can't recommend laying 3.5 now, but I mean they've been I know they've been a darling for us all year. They've been just a consistent damn team, man. I'm rooting for them. I'm impressed with them. I don't know how you can't be. I mean, they lose Pavia in the Conference USA Championship game, and I mean, they still have the balls to continue to throw it deep. I'm rooting for them. I usually don't root for teams other than my bets, but I hope they take care of business. But I can't recommend laying 3.5 now.
Yeah, it rich now, but agree. That was kind of the side I wanted. Maybe I mean, especially with Pavia, gutting it out there and Jerry Kill and they kind of have the aspects of a bowl team especially from a motivational standpoint, and they're not losing a bunch of guys to the portal, any of that. They should care to be there. They did lose
their that deep threat. And number 14 is a good kid, and he hit the portal.
Oh, no, that's a good call.
Wide receiver Hudson.
Yep. But at the same time, Fresno, more portal action, lost their coach. Do they want to be in this game? Probably not.
Before we get to more best bets and more answers in the chat, we got to get the likes up here. We got more than 200 viewers and not very many likes. Make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button for those of you watching live. And for even those, make sure you're subscribed, even if you're listening and watching on delay. Pistol Pete in the chat. What's the highest number you would lay on San Jose State against Coastal? 9.5. I made it 10. I can't lay 10.
Yeah, I think it's rich now. I couldn't get any past that.
I think you're looking to play Coastal at 10.5.
I'm not totally against playing Coastal at some point. I'll tell you that. But I agree. This is it's too rich for me. Too rich for my blood.
There's 9.5 out there. Where the hell is that? 9.5? Yeah, mine's FanDuel. That's okay. I bet that, but I don't know. Another game that I don't know. I don't have much interest. I think it's priced relatively accordingly. San Jose State does have a couple of key opt-outs. They got a good tight end opt-out, and one of their top offensive linemen opt-out, so it's not all roses for them. Drunk Driver in the chat, thoughts on Texas State Rice? I bet Rice. Nothing wild about that one, just a number. Texas State's wild, man. High variance. I mean, I could see him crushing Rice or losing the game by 10 points. It's tough to get a handle on them on that team. They haven't been consistent. Rice, even without JT Daniels, I don't think was worth much to the point spread. They were able to win a few games without him. Padgett quarterbacked the bowl game last year, so I think they're okay there. So 4.5, I'd lean Rice.
Yeah, I know some guys that were with you that played, that liked Rice when it was at 6.5. I didn't get involved. I still don't. It feels like a game that I have absolutely the number might not matter whatsoever. Texas State you drop 70 some games, other games they get shellacked. I really, JT Daniels not playing. I don't know what to make of this game. It's just one I totally stayed away.
Jacob in the chat, thoughts on UTSA and Old Dominion unders? I have 56.5 and 57.5 respectively. I mean, yeah, those are good bets. I mean, you got a couple points on each, to say the least. So I'm not going to poo-poo those. I don't have a problem with either. I got a question for you before you answer that. Have you heard they're going to have the communications in the helmets for the bowl games?
No, I did not hear that. Is that
Yeah.
every bowl game?
For the non-playoff games, they're going to test it out and have the devices inside the helmets.
No kid.
I got some of that today, and they were asking.
Memorial, bowl season.
Yeah, so somebody sent that to me today and asked me, well, how does it impact totals? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, gut would say it helped road teams during the regular season with crowd noise and whatnot, but you don't have that situation in the bowl games. I don't know if you can get plays in quicker. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see how that impacts it. What's your thoughts? Did you bet any of those totals in those two bowl games?
I did get involved on the Western Kentucky under there a little bit. There's some rumors going around about guys that could miss for Western Kentucky that haven't been announced yet, and you saw ODU take a little bit more money today. So
I like ODU in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Liked ODU to begin with, and then some more guys from Western Kentucky might not play. So of the two, that's the better one. UTSA, the only thing I would say there, and again, you got a great number, so roll with it, is like they might just steamroll. UTSA games are wild. I could see,
Marshall took money today.
Yeah, I was surprised I got a little, I mean, anytime you got, when it was getting around 13.5 for 14 for a bowl game between two, it's probably a little aggressive there.
I was just checking. I was checking to see who I sent the order out. ODU plus 4.5. That's a good one for you and I, buddy. That was an early order put in. We're looking okay. We'll see. 7.5 points. You would hope to cash. Charles in the chat. Any Joey props for this weekend?
The only, you know what?
Is it widely available? I got to think with a bunch of backups, the books are relatively conservative, right?
There was some out there. The problem is a lot of them got beat up pretty good.
Okay.
In terms of what was, and again, that wasn't a ton of liquidity. They got, there was some ones I bet for franchise that have gotten beat up pretty good. So I bet a couple Sunbelt. Oh, this was at Caesars too. We talked lowest score and highest scoring. One of my guys liked Sunbelt exact wins 6 or 7. They were like plus 350, plus 375, or like the over on 6 wins in terms of Sunbelt. And so I kind of like that. I thought the Sunbelt better than expected this year. And you can find a little variation there in those prices depending on where you shop in terms of bowl wins, exact wins, and that. So that's one thing to monitor. I would look out for.
Eat that in the chat. Thoughts on Ole Miss plus 3.5? I don't know. Where you at on that game? I think I sent you an order on the over there with that Manny Diaz out, Chop Robinson out. And you would hope Penn State has a clue with a controlled environment offensively. I kind of like the over more than anything.
Yeah, it's 3.5 would be the. I think I bet a small like Ole Miss 4.5. Might even bet a little 3.5 too. But nothing significant. I was expect a little bit more Penn State movement and opt outs that haven't come yet. So and maybe won't come. So at this point, I wouldn't have a strong take on it.
A few more in the chat before we wrap it up and give some maybe possible more best bets. Spammy Sosa, Oregon minus 17, Bo, Bucky, and company all going to play. Bucky's not going to play, right?
I didn't think so.
Yeah, Bucky's not going to play. Bo is going to play. Good for him. I like the over. I mean, Oregon's offense against their bottom 6-7 teams this year, they averaged 55 total points per game. If you think it's high for Liberty, 6 of their last 7 games have gone over this total. Over for me. I'm not going to deal with the big side, at least at this point.
Yeah, you know what? I was hoping for a bigger Liberty number, and it actually got bought back a little bit. So probably nothing there. The other thing, does Salter have eligibility left past this year? Because
I think he does. I always worried about him in the portal.
But then they did that. Yeah, me too. With that 2-time transfer thing, like a stay of whatever. Where now he could move.
Yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want now.
Yeah. So I was like, if I'm out there, I'm looking. I'd be looking to throw him some money if he wanted to come over. So yeah, it was a little concern there. So now it's probably one I just leave it alone.
Everyone bitching about all the, it's Wild Wild West, no rules. Well, I'll tell you what, who's going to step up and say, hey, these are basically employees now. Let's start making some legit contracts. So,
Right.
Until you do that, whatever. I just failed leadership at the top. And then wasn't an overnight thing. You could see this coming down the pike for a decade, and they didn't do anything. They just kept lining their fat pockets with money. And now they're bitching that they got to pay the players. I'm all pro player right now. I don't care. And they just do whatever they want. You're allowing it. So eat that in the chat. Thoughts on Iowa, Tennessee total 36. I didn't bet it. I did lay it with Tennessee, though. What's the pathway to Iowa's offense? The two best teams they played this year, Penn State and Michigan, 57-0. Tennessee's not as good as those teams, but they're better than every team in the Big Ten West that Iowa was able to beat 13-10. Tennessee for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. There's nothing. I don't want to play the total, but I agree. Like the Iowa team, I just have no interest in. I don't know what they can do. You've seen it against when they went up against really they can't. The offense can do nothing. It can't throw the ball more than 5 yards downfield. So unless if they got a matchup versus a team where they could run it all over, but I don't think that's really Tennessee. So
they can't run. They can't do anything. I don't get it.
Yeah,
the offense line isn't as good as what's been in years past, so they could always lean on that. Team stack the line of scrimmage as it is, put extra guys in the box so they don't fear the passing attack. I don't see the pathway there, and I think Tennessee will spread their defense out, attack them vertically like Iowa hasn't seen all year. That's what's kept them in games. Nobody's really attacked that defense. Even Michigan
didn't have that vertical passing threat that Tennessee provides their offense. So I think it could be a rude awakening for an Iowa defense that is very good, but. When you got to hold an opponent to like 3, a little tough.
I don't see it. Even Alar, he sucks. They're gonna get challenged on defense like they haven't all year. I like Tennessee there. Charles in the chat, a few more here. Jacksonville State total thoughts. Looking at the over still. Old tailgate tent likes the over. I'm neutral. I'm not. I didn't bet either over or under there.
Yeah, you know what? He liked the over. I saw some guys come back a little on the under. That's one that's kind of, again, we talk about ones that have been shaped pretty good. I think the people who like the over got in, 56, 57. People who wanted the under got at 60, 59. Now you're kind of sitting where it should. So, and if there was going to be more, it's the day before the game, the limits are up. You've kind of seen the move that would already happen. Maybe it'll get a little bit tweaked, but I think numbers about where it should be now.
RW fan 23, Georgia Tech UCF over just got hammered over 64.5. Still good if you can find it. I wanted to bet the over on this game, but it came a little higher than what I anticipated. I guess I missed the boat.
Yeah, that kind of took off right as we were starting. And
that a Raz or who hit that? Or
I'm not sure who it was. I haven't been able to check, but it's such a high variance game that I really didn't want to be in on. But I could see this game, being, like a 50-40 type if both defenses just don't care.
Brendan Linhart in the chat, did you guys see that Fleck is paying the quarterback $30,000 to stay and play? Quarterback room must be thin. Yeah, they're down to a third-string guy as it was. If he wasn't going to play, they didn't have a scholarship quarterback. $30,000 seems reasonable to me, doesn't it to you?
Yeah, I think part of what PJ Fleck is saying, and that's just part of the life now. If you're at a program like Minnesota and you don't got a lot of NIL or some big billionaire booster who wants to support you, you're just going to get poached every year after. There's not really a pathway to, you can recruit good talent and then people are going to come take it from you. So I don't know. For those bottom tier P5 programs, tough gig right now.
I know it's illegal, but I back channels want some of these coaches with their fat ass contracts pay a couple of these guys. I would. I want to win, so I money will come when I win. So
right.
30,000 seems reasonable. It's either possibility of losing to Bowling Green in a bowl game, which is still the case, or playing with a walk-on quarterback. No, I think 30,000 sounds right. And kudos to I think Cole Kramer is the kid's name. He was going to be done, not be on the team, and he's going to go get married, he said. And he says it's going to pay for his wedding. So good for him. I love it.
I didn't see that.
Again, pro player. Justin Patterson, thoughts on the Sooners? I like the Sooners.
What a time to be in college football.
Yeah, I love it. I honestly feel bad for the guys that really could have taken advantage of it.
I know. If you're
Vince
sitting
Young,
there and you
Reggie
never made the
Bush,
league, but you
Tebow.
were like a good college player, you're like, I could have had a few million in the bank. And now I'm working like at Allstate selling because who was that the Heisman winner from Oklahoma that was like working construction a few years later, like I agree. I'd be on that whatever lawsuit they got going, looking for my reparations to try and get back what I didn't win as I was an athlete. So
I will say that, I mean, obviously the TV money is just so astronomical. I mean, it wasn't there when there was money to be had and these kids should have been getting paid something. But when the conferences started their own networks, I mean, you should have been up front of this and started paying the kids at that point. Come on. Justin in the chat. Yeah, Sooners. I do like Oklahoma. I'm a little worried that old offensive line now has 3 guys out.
Yeah.
So I'm a little worried there.
No, I tend to agree. I was a side I was leaning. There's a little bit of a concern there with the portal stuff, but it was one I was kind of excited to see. The post Dylan Gabriel era. I know Arizona didn't have as many, so I was on a little Arizona early, and then I know it got once it crossed 3, you had some buyers on Oklahoma. So yeah, I'm a little neutral now at 3. But one of those games that I'm kind of excited to see from an Oklahoma standpoint, more so than excited to bet.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to this game more than a lot of the bowl games. This would be a top 5-6 bowl game for me. Matchup wise, excited to see Jackson Arnold and see Oklahoma turn the page there. So very much looking forward to that one. Gabe in the chat, we haven't hit this one. Boise State +5.5 against UCLA. I think we can get a 6.
Yeah, that's steam today.
UCLA continues to take money. I'm not big on UCLA. I mean, Boise is down to that 3rd-string quarterback that could, it's very scary.
Yep. I just think you could, UCLA didn't have too many guys, opt out, and the portal guys were Dante Moore doesn't really matter, that. So they're playing with a little bit more of a stacked deck. And as you said, Boise with a QB who doesn't, and I mean, it's a talent advantage anyway. So
under for me, especially those 48.5s under.
I agree with that. That would be that at current. That's all I'd want would be the 48 or better.
Yep. Back to the chat. Any thoughts, guys, on the SWAC championship? Kind of, we lean with Florida A&M, especially if you can still find a 6.5 out there. That's where I'd go with that one. G Coleman in the chat. UTSA is now 11 from 13.5. News related. Dr. Bob gave out Marshall. He can impact markets. David in the chat, for the degenerates that want action tonight, South Dakota State -19. No, I agree more with the Albany side there. I think over is probably the sharpest bet in that game tonight. And Tyler wrapping it up. What number would you need to bet Ohio State? 3. And I'll be honest with you, when it gets officially announced that some of these guys are going to play and it's starting to add up that, hey, a lot of these guys are going to play, I think anything with a plus sign with the Buckeyes looks okay to me. Yeah,
it's been again, I talked about early having a massive Missouri position, but I just the news coming out, it's been very uncertain, looking like some of these guys are going to play, but nobody's really gone official. So yeah, I think there'll be more guys than we originally thought. I really don't think Devin Brown's any good. Regardless,
was Kyle McCord good though?
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough. But so, yeah, I guess it would depend on, is it really going to be everybody for Ohio State? So, yeah, I think this is one that you could see, some shift back if Ohio State's going to really go for it. So we'll see. I think that's kind of a TBD one.
Anything that we missed, best bet wise? We did add Oregon State to the mix that we already had. We added USC +7.5. And Oregon State +6.5. We already had 5 in the chamber. We're on the good side of CLV on every single one of those, so I'm excited in that regard. Is there something that you were looking to bet that we didn't get to today?
I don't think so. The only thing I would say is some of those
Is it one tomorrow? What? Wait, let me look though. We already got Tech minus 2.5 tomorrow. That's good. I'm happy with that.
I saw a question on the look ahead, the playoff look aheads for the championship game.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but to be honest with you, I think anything like Texas or Washington was good versus like there's a Washington +7 versus Michigan, a Texas +3.5. I don't, and again, and not to be the amazing blue hater here. But I just think those lines are high. I think Texas would be more around to pick, Washington under a TD
against Michigan.
Yeah,
agree. Michigan comes out and hammers them Crimson Tide.
Yeah, no, that's
not
fair.
It
could definitely change perspective if they handle Alabama. So that's things can change. But I'm just saying from where we're sitting right now, those seem rich.
Agree. Well, I think that's going to do it. I mean, we got enough best bets. I mean, obviously, we're going to see you guys on Monday. And then we got a Friday show. So we'll keep getting after it here as far as bowl season as new information continues to arise. See, we're in good shape on a lot of games, CLV wise. So as always, I think we got a good, solid portfolio. We'll see if it turns into some wins here for a change. One more reminder, because we'll see you guys on Monday. But if you want to see, you can't wait till Monday. You want to see Knish. You want his Lions takes, and you want to watch him struggle live, watching the Lions as their playoff dreams and hopes and aspirations of a home playoff game might go up in smoke. I hope not. I like them. You can join Knish and Zach at the Hammer HQ YouTube account for that first half watch party tomorrow. Again, that's the Lions and Broncos games, and you can compete for a chance for a pool of $500 in cash prizes. You're going to head on over to locker.bet, or you can click the link in the chat to sign up. Final thoughts, man?
Looking forward to getting some final, some games started here, baby. So nice to see finally getting a little bit of action here. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now. Good to get in and get into some of these games.
Look forward to it as well. I'll talk to you on Monday. For the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Joey Knish, producer extraordinaire Zach Phillips. I'm merely Brad Powers. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you on Monday.